Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Deadwood series. This is episode 2 of season 2 and it is called A Lie Agreed Upon Part 2. Last episode set up instant drama for this season perfectly. We saw Al and Seth straight away bump heads and get into it. It caused a fight. Both ended up falling off Al's balcony into the street. It looks like Al might have broken his ribs in the process. Instant tension, instant drama. And talk about awkward, Seth's wife and adopted son showed up, got shown to their new house, which I'm sure Mrs. Garrett did not appreciate. That's basically the quick summary of the last episode, so I'm looking forward to getting into this week's. This is A Lie Agreed Upon Part 2. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. I've started rewatching Game of Thrones recently. Anyone out there that's seen it, do you remember when Ian McShane randomly shows up in an episode? That was before I'd seen Deadwood, and the character he briefly plays in Game of Thrones is absolutely night and day from this one. He's got quite the range as an actor. And of course, Calamity Jane was sighted on the roadside. Can't believe I never mentioned that in the intro. It was only for a brief moment, but just to see her again was great. She better come back into this show as a primary character. Otherwise, there's pretty much nothing I can do about it, and that's a promise.
How's Bullock doing? I don't discuss my patients one with another. Bleeding through his fucking ear.
Al trying to salvage a bit of his pride there. He definitely looks quite fucked up.
Inform me, Al, to what mark in your piss pot did you fill?
Does he think he's got internal bleeding when he's asking that question?
You got your suit back from Mr. Woo.
He said Mr. Woo there like he was celebrating. Mr. Woo!
Bullock.
Upstairs, to the widow. I can't say if they're in rut.
In rut. What a phrase for currently fucking.
I was relieved Mr. Starr and Mr. Utter weren't more badly injured.
As was I. That would have been such a shit scene if both of those guys took a mortal wound from that shooting.
May I ask if you'd been aware their arrival was so imminent?
No.
She does not seem pleased.
He's handsome. Your brother's son.
He's a fine boy.
He seemed cool. He was very respectful to people and tipping his hat while saying hello and shit.
For us to stay and not sever connection would add line to her humiliation.
It's a good point. I mean, it's one thing them having an understandable agreement that they're not really a couple, but it's another thing, you know, waving that in her face by continuing a relationship with Miss Garrett while not divorcing her.
I'll come back in a few hours.
Be very careful in the interim, Mr. Bullock.
Still, I think he's handling this a bit sillily, if I do say so myself. Like, he could just say to his wife, like, look, we've never really been a thing. I just did that to look after the kid. If we could get an amicable divorce, I'll still look after you and the kid just as before. Nothing will change except it won't be humiliating to you when I pursue my true love interest in Mrs. Garrett. But no, Seth's got to be a big drama about it, hasn't he?
Lovely family, the Bullocks.
Grand.
Looked forward all this while to meet him with my load on.
Well, Saul's seen better days, but it seemed like the bullet only grazed Charlie. Regardless, it's just good to see them both still alive. I really like both of these characters.
I got him. Look the fuck out. Look the fuck out.
Saul at least deserves a post-shooting blowjob. Get out the room.
Oh, probably to get some weapons.
I don't think you'll have that much trouble doing that in Deadwood. You could probably like bump into a table and 3 revolvers would fall from under it.
You didn't hear Mr. Bullock say he'd get his old weapon back.
You think maybe a new one might be useful to Bullock arranging his old one's return?
I think Seth's taking a smarter route, trying to be peaceful about this.
Self-deluding, interfering motherfucker.
I didn't know that's what Trixie felt about Seth.
I'm sorry you got shot.
Never a good way to start a sentence.
What we've built and been through, you don't get to walk away without saying why.
You know why.
Again, I know this was quite a drama-fueled beginning to season 2, but I do think Seth is still being a bit over the top with this reaction. Al's handling this more chilled than Seth. He just wants to be better so he can go back to business. Seth hasn't said a single line of dialogue without it being through gritted teeth since the incident.
I like being loaded. I like telling you what the fuck I think, you cocksucker.
Nice, well at least there's an upside to having to drink copious amounts of alcohol after being shot.
Want a fast blowjob?
What?
quick open-air blowjob.
If I was Saul, I wouldn't be happy with her doing that shit. I mean, I know she's a hooker, but that seemed like she was offering one just out of friendship, which should only be for Saul.
If you don't mind my saying, she is one striking woman, Mrs. Bullock. Sense of dignified and upright.
Oh, Charlie, he's very upbeat considering a bullet just grazed his face. Like, 2 inches to the left, and that could have been his last conversation.
A faintness come over me. Oh, Jesus. That's a lightheaded fucking sensation.
Yeah, faintness will tend to do that to you.
Yeah. To not keel forward and drown in fucking horse shit.
Probably the worst way to drown.
Fuck the Gem. Gem will fuck with me.
I like how he specifically said that while passing the open front door.
He was favored of the judge and Helena that wanted him in politics. They figure he's a stalking horse here for the judge's interest.
I didn't know Bullock was perceived that way by anybody, above these guys. That might give him a bit more power than he even knows he has.
Quickness with a cocky rejoinder must have got you many punches in the face.
Depends what you call many.
He made a good point though. To some, one would be too many. To Rocky Balboa, there's no such thing.
He will leave with me. If I tell him that's my wish.
I will say, yes, her husband has died. She has been through a bit of shit, but she always seems to be in a privileged position of decision making. She's never got her back against the wall. Everything's sort of been handed to Mrs. Garrett thus far. Besides her husband, who was handed to the ravine. So, I guess that balances it out a little bit.
We do love each other. Our being together ought not to seem so outlandish a proposition.
Agreed. I even think Seth's wife would be cool with it. She'd be like, yeah, we'll have a divorce. Like, you just got me a house. What the fuck do I expect from you? I've not even seen you in however long. She can't be expecting an intimate relationship with her dead husband's brother, surely.
Why, just this instant, say, different from later a little while, when a friend could back your play.
If Seth goes right now, I don't think Al will be interested in rekindling their fucking fight in the middle of the Gem. Surely that's it over and done, and if he goes in, Al will probably give him his gun and badge back as long as they're cool.
Come in. Don't anyone bolt for freedom.
This'll be the first time we've heard prostitutes say the term, it's a fixer-upper.
Ladies, why don't you put your attention to some of the lighter furniture and we'll hire some great minds to do the heavy lifting.
It's a very respectable way of saying some muscle.
Fucking crises. I prefer sucking prick as fucking short of it.
Back in our comfort zone.
At this precise juncture, our site Tolliver would not have backed an exclusively high-end whoring operation at the far fucking end of the camp.
Sai's rage has continued on from the last episode, I see.
Take one of these as a gesture of optimism and goodwill.
Is he worried he's going to lose more staff? It's not like Sai just to be passing out poker chips to people.
Remain on your side of the street. Do not interfere with me in any way.
Hey! Oh, Jane, never change.
This happens to be a rig and contraption of my own devising against repeated accidental fall.
If you fall off your horse, the last thing you want is to be dragged behind it for a couple miles, bumping off the dusty trail, tumbleweed whapping you in the face.
Hey! Don't you disarm me, you cocksucker!
Oh my god, Jane is the fucking best. Oh, I've missed this character.
Enhancing my understanding may allow others the benefit of your mortal illness.
He worded it in the only way that Jane may accept it. It was a smart play.
There we go.
Promise when I'm dead, you'll plant me with a view of where Bill is.
Oh man, she's still thinking about Bill. Such a loyal friend. We can only hope to have friends like Jane.
Is the idea that she belongs to the camp? Are we some sort of vicious, filthy outpost of Brook Farm?
I mean, just say you've developed feelings for the kid and you like looking after her instead of phrasing it like that.
The female breast has long ago lost all mystery or allure. Open your goddamn blouse.
Jane is doing this entire procedure so stubbornly. It's endearing. That's one of her main personality traits.
You obviously don't scruple from that type of sick behavior.
I promise.
The doc isn't interested in any of that. He just genuinely wants to help you.
I suggest you quit drinking.
I will when you do, you ugly son of a bitch.
Not a fair deal. He does drink, but he drinks in more moderation than you.
Charlie Utter has put aside a room for you at the freight building.
Does he have any animals in there?
What's your beef with animals, Jane? I don't understand why she asked that question. She's going to be pissed off to hear he almost took a bullet in his head as well, though.
Next year was the war. Robert was cavalry. No way to locate where he was.
That would have been interesting. A Wild West version of Saving Private Ryan with Seth looking for his brother.
And I finally did come to Fort Quitman where Robert was posted, and Robert wasn't there.
I mean, it's tough for families in the present time to have, you know, people in their family, in the military, in dangerous situations, but back in those days when it was so hard to get in communication with them as well, just must have been absolutely brutal, not knowing if they were alive, dead, just no information. I feel bad for Seth. It seems like he hasn't even really took a moment to grieve and deal with the loss of his brother. He's just been distracting himself.
Is it settled between you two, or still unresolved?
I don't fucking know.
It was such a petty dispute, like basically Al just shouting shit at him over the balcony half drunk about him and Mrs. Garrett. Ridiculous reason to fall out when you're two of the most powerful people in the camp.
I'm past my fill of this shit. Next time, don't fucking catch up.
I don't get what that was about. Was he just annoyed the guy wasn't there? He didn't even listen to his reasoning. Dan doesn't seem to like him, though.
Bet you and him just bust each other's guts with your little fucking funnies.
Damn, Dan is on beef this episode. What sort of power play is this? Oh shit! That is quite the retaliation.
Next one is to your head, Dan. Do not doubt me.
It's rare to see Al trying to keep the peace in this establishment.
Finnish fella from Finland. Hardly spoke fucking English. Brought me flowers.
It's nice to see Jane have a guy interested in her.
I wanna suck your cock.
So he thought she was a guy, wow.
Put him to sleep.
Here you go.
I bet you put him to sleep for that comment.
You gonna tell me now who was with?
Swearingen.
The limey cocksucker nearly did for a little one?
Oh dear, that's all Jane needs to hear. She is right there. If you need an extra gun, Jane's probably got two.
Go get the fucking weapons for us to back him, Charlie.
Bringing Jane along with you on this mission, armed and drunk, might not be the best choice, but I definitely would make the same mistake.
Alcoholic encephalopathy. Wet brain.
Nobody eats better in the town of Deadwood than Mr. Wu's pigs.
$5.
It's quite a easy business, this. Like, Mr. Wu doesn't really have to tend for the pigs. They get the food with the business that is brought to him, and he makes a nice little buck out of it.
You send Adams and he can deliver them. He chose! You took his fucking part!
It's the first time I've seen Dan this emotional ever.
You and me walk into it together, like always.
True, he wasn't really taking Adam's side in it, he just didn't want all hell to break loose instantly. If two magistrates died in Deadwood within the space of however long, it would definitely look super suspicious to Yankton. I'm assuming Adams is now a magistrate.
There would have been a hell of a lot more than 2 tines sticking through that cocksucker's chest if it'd have been me or Al impaling him.
I thought it was quite a good kill, personally.
Oh, you know, I'm halfway thinking this exaggerates the condition rather than alleviates it.
Do I want to know what she's doing back there?
Oh my God, take it out.
It's definitely not out of Al's request.
Why? If I was moving forward to get away from you, would you have fucking pursued me?
It's a good question.
Close the eyes, Flap.
A rare request.
Shall I suck your prick?
Please.
I love the frankness of this time period. I would have definitely thrived under these conditions.
Does he want to fucking die? I understand that has its fucking appeal.
It's not necessarily going to end in bloodshed if he goes back to the gym. I have a feeling this might be resolved peacefully for once.
My penalty if I don't comply is he walks in the bar downstairs and takes 15 bullets in the chest.
I'd never thought I'd seen a trope before of the blowjob monologue, but Al Swearingen is definitely winning that title so far. You get a lot of disposition in the show when Al's being filleted.
He wants execution because he's failed. 1 minute!
Is Al trying to finish before he goes and deals with this confrontation? It might make him more chilled about it.
Wait.
It's a real phenomenon though. I remember one day I was absolutely in a bad mood. I can't remember why, but I was just in such a bad mood. And the woman I was seeing at the time, sorted me out. And afterwards I was like, nothing's really that bad. Everything's cool. It works.
Wish to fuck you two'd let me finish this the way I prefer.
We wish to fuck. You'd find something else to wish for.
Good comeback, Jane.
Getting dressed.
Ain't it always a trial picking out the gown best conceals you fucking pissed yourself?
Oh my god. Just when I can't love her anymore, she gets given all the great dialogue lines this episode.
Selfish cocksucker.
Is Trixie gonna shoot Seth? No fucking way.
That's not to say, should the situation deteriorate, you boys wouldn't open fire from concealment, huh?
I thought Al might be trying to take the peaceful route with this, especially after hearing how much pull Seth has in Montana.
I also apologize for the stink.
Welcome change from your usual odor of skunk.
Unnecessary when trying to be amicable, Jane, but appreciated.
Running away solves absolutely fucking nothing.
He makes fair points.
Toss it, Dolly.
Good throw, good catch. What I want to know is, was Trixie ready to shoot Al there, or ready to shoot Seth? Something tells me she was aiming at Seth, not Al.
When opportunity offers itself, please return this to Mr. Bullock. Yes, ma'am.
Wonder what Mrs. Garrett's thinking about this whole situation.
She can situate me.
Alright.
Yeah, still unsure as to what Trixie's intentions were with that rifle there.
The deep whiff walking past.
Mother, it's the ocean!
Never thought I'd hear the phrase deep whiff of pussy before.
I choose to believe that truth and decency need not be at odds.
Oh, you hear no argument from me.
So is he wanting to print this in the town paper? That won't be good for anyone. If I was Al, I'd be like, no, leave this story out of the press, thank you.
A fucking weave of my story's tapestry would foster the illusions of further commerce.
Yeah, all Al really cares about is making his money.
Beaten to a fare-thee-well earlier in the day by Sheriff Bullock, has returned to the sheriff the implements and ornaments.
At least he's letting Al write the story for him.
May I come in with my boots?
Of course.
Yeah, you built a house, mate, so,
To show the boy when he awakes. I've got these back.
Is that an important thing to show the boy? Is it important for them to know that he's still the sheriff? I don't understand the significance of it. I mean, it's good for him, but why would the boy care?
I saw that you installed a bundling board in the bed upstairs.
I did.
I hope you don't mind that I removed it.
What is a bungling board? Does that separate a double bed in half, maybe?
The squarest games of chance in the hills remain unabatedly available at all hours, 7 days a week.
We'd all like to write our own reviews, of course. Okay, and that was episode 2 of season 2 of Deadwood, A Lie Agreed Upon Part 2, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, A Lie Agreed Upon Part 2, what did I think of that? I'm assuming this is a Part 1 and a Part 2 to start this season because all the incidents in the first 2 episodes seemingly took place over the course of a single day. So it was quite a drama and then a resolution of drama over the course of a whole day. Just shows how crazy things can get in Deadwood and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank God Al and Seth are at peace with one another temporarily, at least for the time being, because I think the show works better for me when they're not at each other's throats, at least not this early on. I'm assuming maybe in later seasons this will come to a definitive end, but if this happens too early, all it'll lead to, if there's serious drama between these guys, is a lot of deaths of characters I like, such as Saul, Calamity Jane, Charlie Utter. I don't want to see any of these people excommunicated from the show too early, and I think that these two guys being in direct conflict would definitely lead to casualties on both sides, and on Seth's side is a bunch of people that I love watching in this show. Seeing Calamity Jane definitively back in this show now is so great. Her dialogue throughout this episode had me absolutely cracking up and reminding myself, not that I needed it, why I missed her so much for the few episodes she was not present. A big question mark for me in this episode was, when Trixie had that rifle trained on the situation, was she planning to shoot Seth if things went pear-shaped? It seemed like she was. I think he's only ever been respectful to her, but obviously she still has a certain level of loyalty toward Al, not too much given that she prefers Saul, but maybe she thought that Seth was the cause of this issue, and if she took Seth out of the equation there would no longer be an issue. Or maybe she was planning to shoot Al and I got that situation completely misread. I think the only thing keeping Seth alive in this episode wasn't the fact that he was sheriff and a good sheriff and known in the town. It was the new information that Al had learnt, that because Seth was well respected in Montana, that word had reached up to Yankton, who Al is trying to keep off his back. I think that's the sole reason that it didn't end in violence, but still, even that small ace in the hole for Seth was good to see, because I didn't want to see it end like that. And I'm guessing by the way Mrs. Garrett was this episode, the way Seth was this episode, and the way Seth's wife was this episode, that Seth is actually going to cease his relationship with Miss Garrett and try to make things work with his estranged wife. She removed the whatever the board was they called it, which I believe is to separate a double bed into like two singles, like a big plank between you and your significant other. I do not know how that was ever invented. God knows that couple must have fucking hated each other. But yeah, she purposefully removed it, which is her dignified way of saying, you know, I'm expecting us to be fucking, I'm your wife, I guess. Dan again showed his loyalty to the death for Al, ready to just fuck someone up at the drop of a hat just because he felt he was being disrespectful, ready to go to war with Al. He definitely is Al's closest confidant. E.B. Farnham might act like he's that for Al, but we all know that if shit hit the fan, E.B. Farnham would go to where he felt safest or richest, whereas Dan seems like he genuinely would be willing to die in the dirt alongside Al if it came to that. And yeah, talk about kicking off the series with a bang. These first two episodes have been absolutely gold. I do not know storyline wise where this season is going to go from here, but I can't wait to see it. I just know it's going to be so good. This was such a well-written, well-acted episode as always, and I'm sure the rest of this season is just like that, and I can't wait. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch the rest of these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.